This is the second webinar in a multi-part series. The first webinar we ran, Collaborate Effortlessly with Intranets, was a fantastic success. Today's webinar is the second, Deliver Engaging Experiences with Websites. We have two others after today's webinar, Take Productivity to the Next Level with Intranets and Transform Training and Employee Onboarding. So today's webinar we're really excited about, Deliver Engaging Experiences with Websites. My name is Josh Anstey. I'm the Customer Solutions Director at Elcom, and I'll be running you through the webinar today, as well as the demo of some of these great features in version 10.5. The agenda for today's webinar, so we'll be focusing those on personalized newsletters, IP geolocation functionality that we've released, Ecwid, which is an e-commerce tool I'll be running through, the enhancements we've made to the Events Manager module, and I'll also be retouching on some of the functionality we've added and enhanced the Form Creator module. We did touch on that in the previous webinar. It was so successful, there was such fantastic feedback about that, that we did want to touch on it again, just on a high level during this webinar. And then we'll jump into a demo and we'll wrap it up with some questions. So the first we've enhanced is our email marketing module. So we've basically enhanced the main list functionality to include personalized newsletters. The email marketing module, the main list module in Elcom, enables you to send out personalized email newsletters to users. And typically you've always been able to personalize the name and the company in a range of specific fields and tags. It's created with an elcomCMS article, so a page of content in Elcom is created that's obviously email friendly, and that's what's actually used to send out the newsletter to different subscribers. The functionality with the personalization that we've added here actually enables you to create that template and then interchange different areas that are dynamically personalized on the fly based on that user's preference, based on what you actually know about them. So there are many great benefits to the personalized newsletter functionality. Obviously you can generate and create personalized newsletters, so it's not that blanket approach where everyone will receive the exact same content in their newsletter. It also then enables you to deliver relevant information to each individual user based on preferences and the information you actually know about them. And ultimately the idea is that that will help lead to higher conversion rates and customer retention. So if everyone on today's webinar was receiving a newsletter, there might be certain areas that are generic and we do all receive the same type of content, and then there might be certain blocks of content in that newsletter that are personalized based on your location, based on your industry, or based on your level in the organization, or type of role, or whatever it might be. So this is an example of the personalized newsletters. I am going to show you in a demo, but on the left-hand side you can see one newsletter, on the right-hand side you can see a second newsletter. Bulks of the newsletters are the same, and then you'll notice, and we've just done this to differentiate it, that heading that's blue over there, you can see newsletter article 1 and newsletter article 2. That would theoretically be interchanged based on the dynamic widgets and personalization so that the user sees the appropriate and personalized information for them. So that's an example of what that might look like to a user that's receiving the newsletter. One of the new features we've released in version 10.5, which we're really excited about, is IP geolocation. So for those wondering, what is that? What does that mean? It really enables you to deliver website content that's personalized based on users' countries and locations. And so you might have a landing page or a part on your website that's for Australian users, and you might have another part that's for American users, and another part that's for England users, and so forth. And it can actually detect where the user's coming from, and then it'll show them the variation of a page that's most relevant to that type of user based on the IP geolocation. And there are many benefits to the IP geolocation. Obviously, the biggest benefit, as you can imagine, is delivering really intelligent and localized content for those users. So, for example, information you deliver to users, you might actually have different products and services you offer in Australia versus New Zealand versus the United States. So when a user logs in from those areas, they can obviously see the type of content that's relevant to that region, and obviously they get a lot more of a meaningful experience there. And ultimately that would lead to higher engagement and conversions because they're seeing content that's actually relevant to whatever country they're coming from, and they're seeing products and services that they can actually access. I'm going to be jumping into that in the demo, in the actual demo section. The Ecwid connector is something new we've added as well, and Ecwid is an e-commerce tool that you can use. It's a third-party plugin e-commerce tool. And we've integrated to Ecwid and made it really easy for you to manage your Ecwid e-commerce store inside your existing Elcom website. So this would include things like product and category listings, product searching, and essentially that whole shopping cart, paying, checkout experience. So essentially the user will come to your website, they can navigate your website as per normal, but they will get that whole e-commerce shopping cart experience. Ecwid is a third-party product. It is really powerful, very easy to set up and cost-effective to use. So there's a few different components of what we've actually created that relate to Ecwid. So the product browser, and that obviously lets you search for different products based on different categories that have been set up and configured. And essentially it's an Elcom article element that displays on the page. The product section, which again is another Elcom element that you can just drop on your page. Those familiar with the interface editing articles in Elcom, you can just add different elements to the page, such as a content editor, a form, a poll. So the Ecwid is another article element you can add to the page there. And we have set it up so that there is auto login between the Ecwid widgets and also your Elcom website. There are a range of benefits this integration provides our clients around the world. Firstly, it makes it really fast to set up and actually create a shopping experience with Elcom and actually integrate that. And it'll really help you get your Ecwid shop or shopfront up and running and displayed within the Elcom website. So it doesn't require any additional integration now. We've built the connector. We've made it really, really easy for you. It also enables organizations that were thinking about doing e-commerce, or maybe you do it and it's sitting on a separate site, and actually enables you to bring that inside your Elcom website and deliver that smooth experience for them. Ecwid is a cloud-based service, so you get those updates over there. We've obviously got the nice integration there, and as I said, it's a quick point and click and drop it into the site. The team have done some awesome work with the Events Manager module in Elcom. So those that are familiar with the Elcom platform, the Events Manager module is a really powerful module. It lets you create, manage events. It's a really powerful platform ultimately. It's even more than a module. It lets you manage events, run events. You can take registrations and waiting lists. You can manage multiple events. There are payments you can take. You can deliver contextual information for users based on the events they're going to. Even manage things such as parking, dietary requirements, and guest speakers. So it's a really, really powerful module in Elcom. There are many benefits, so whether you're using it on your website or you could be using it on an intranet or a portal, as well as your learning management system with Elcom, it helps you run events more efficiently. It provides that one-stop shop as part of your website or your intranet or your portal. And it also enables you to coordinate events that might be internal or external. There's a lot of control you get with the events around the types of users that can register for events, the type of events you're actually going to be running, whether you're taking payments for the events or not, whether they're public or not. So there's a lot of benefits you'll actually get from running your events as part of the Elcom platform. And the nice thing is it works well with the rest of the Elcom platform, so it's all part of the same platform. So whether it's websites or an intranet, you're providing that smooth experience. You don't have to send a user to a third-party site to actually register for your event or buy a ticket or put their name down or whatever that might be. So there's a lot of work we've done in version 10.5 in the Events Manager module. One of the nice things we've done is we've set the ability for you to run a real conference-style event, and therefore you can set up multiple activities in different streams. So if I'm registering for the event, I'm not just registering for the event overall. I can actually choose which sessions am I going to attend if there are multiple sessions to attend. And I'm going to run you through that in more detail in the demo. We've also added a range of pricing options. We've improved how guests register. We've added content tags for Google Maps. And from a user experience in the interface, we've actually redone that and we've reorganized it, made it a lot more logical, smoother, and a bit more of an easier user experience in how you actually administer and set up events. Just to touch on our form creator enhancements, it is one of the most popular areas of the Elcom platform and backed by popular demand from the previous webinar we did run. So just to touch on that again, you can create online forms and add them anywhere throughout your Elcom website, intranet, or portal. You can save forms that are halfway through as drafts. You can set up different panels and fields, so selecting different panels to make it easier for a user to click through the forms. And we've redone how you actually create forms and manage the different elements on the form creator there, so you can drag and drop those panels and move them around the form. There are many benefits to forms. I'm not going to touch on them all, but it is a real beautiful point-and-click interface to manage and create forms. You can also tie the forms back into the workflow. So if you're creating an annual leave form or a contact us form or a feedback form or whatever it might be, it can also go through a workflow review and approval process that has in-system notifications as well as email notifications. The enhancements to our form designer and creator in version 10.5, we've redone the form designer tab. I'll give you a quick run through. It's so easy to just drag and drop fields around. You can add page breaks. We've got a payment field now, so we can add in payment details there, and obviously you can hook that up and integrate that to payment gateways. We've also set up a forms library to run reports on all the forms that are in the system. So there's been a lot of work that we've done in our form creator functionality there. All right, fantastic. So let's jump into the demo now. And I'm going to run through some of the new features that are available in 10.5 as we've discussed. So the first we're going to run through is the personalized newsletters. So I'm just going to pull up a tab over here, and you can see I've logged in as one of my users, and I've got my piece of content here. This is, as I described, the Elcom article that's set up specifically for a newsletter. Ignore the fact that we've got dummy text in there, our lorem ipsum. So we've got some text in here, and you can see it has the welcome section at the top, my newsletter article 1, my newsletter item 3, my newsletter item 4. And that's what this user can see there, because it's actually dynamically on the fly showing the personalized content for this specific user over here, the Elcom webmaster there. Now if I jump in here, I've just jumped to a different browser, I've logged in as a different user, and you'll see when they have a look at their newsletter, there's the welcome section, and they've got the newsletter article too. So that's actually being personalized and is actually different for that specific user. And this is all being driven by dynamic widgets, and it's all being driven by taxonomy. So for those that are familiar with the Elcom platform, to show you how this is actually set up, I'm going to go into edit the article layout over here, and you can see I've got my different elements sitting on the page. I've got this area here, my dynamic widget. So I'm going to click into my dynamic widget here, and with my taxonomy, you can see it's set up to inherit the following taxonomies from the user preferences. So when I set up my newsletter template, my Elcom article, I have a dynamic widget there that's actually inheriting taxonomy from the user's preferences so that they can actually see the relevant content based on what topic they are interested in or what is personalized for that specific user. So that's actually how that's set up over there. When I jump across here to my user preferences, you'll notice here that this user's topic, their preference is news. So that's my one user, their preference is news, and that's why it's displaying that specific piece of content in the dynamically generated personalized newsletter. When I jump across to my other browser, my other user here, you can see their preferences are set up based on the topic, and you can see their publication. So this user is interested in publication information in their newsletter, whereas this user here is interested in news information in their newsletter. So it's really as easy as that to actually set up a personalized newsletter in Elcom version 10.5. How you actually set that up from an admin management perspective, so I'm just going to close that and go here to my admin dashboard. Here's my mailing list module, and I've jumped into my mailing list module, and I've gone to the area called Send Emails. And the way you'd actually configure this is when you're sending an email, I'm not going to go through all the options of sending an email, but I just want to draw your attention to the content type. I can select my content type as the article content only, the article website, web page, or the text. When I select article web page, I get this option over here, generate personalized emails. No, send the same emails to all subscribers. Yes, generate a unique email for each subscriber. So that's the option I would select there if I have set up my newsletter to actually personalize the content in that specific example. There are multiple scenarios when you may not want to personalize the newsletter that's being sent out, because you might just be sending out a standard announcement or alert or information to everyone. It is the exact same regardless of the user and their preferences, but this is how you would set it up there if you did want to personalize that for that specific user or that specific subscriber. So that's, in a nutshell, the new personalization with the email marketing and the newsletters, how you can send personalized newsletters there. For those that want a deeper dive and run through of this, please let us know. We'd be more than happy to delve into this in more detail. There are obviously many scenarios and permutations to run through depending on your specific environment and how you send out your newsletters, but it is really, really easy to set up there once you've got your template up and running. So that's the personalization around newsletters. Moving into the IP geolocation, I've got a page of content here called geolocation, and you'll see it's just, again, some dummy text over here, my lorem ipsum. And the area I want to show you here is the word geolocation. I've got another example for the United States, so that heading is actually geolocation-US, and I'm going to show you how I can edit that, and it will automatically pick up my location. As mentioned, the geolocation does work based on country, so it picks up what country you're coming from, and then it would personalize the page of content that actually surfaces and delivers to that user to deliver a more personalized, contextual user experience. So here's my page of content. This is by default my Australian page that I can see. I'm going to go edit the US page I have, and I'm going to go to my folder hierarchy here, into the folder explorer, and you'll see I've got an article called geolocation. I've also got an article called geolocation US. So I'm going to jump into the article geolocation US, and I'm going to jump in here and I'm going to edit the article. So you'll see here, there's my geolocation US article, and I can edit this and put in whatever content and information I want for, obviously, my US-based clients or visitors to my website. I'm going to click Publish here, and what you'll notice is when I do publish this page, it's actually not going to show me geolocation-US. It's actually going to automatically reroute me back to my geolocation Australia page, because once I do publish this, it's actually going to say, where is this user coming from? It's going to notice I'm coming from Australia, and so it's going to direct me automatically to the Australian page. So I'm just going to publish this over here. I've published my page. You'll notice I'm now on the geolocation dash. There's no information there. That dash US is no longer there because it's actually automatically sent me back to the Australian page because it worked out I'm a user based in Australia landing on my website right now. So I've got that whole personalized experience. To set that up, I'm just going to jump in over here. I'm going to go to my geolocation US article, and it doesn't matter which one I jump into, but I'm going to go and show you this one as an example. So this is my article attributes page where I go edit the attributes of the article. And if you scroll down, you'll notice we've got an area called geolocation variations. And I can jump in over here and I can select my different geolocation variations. So I can say, well, if they are from the United States, don't do a redirect on this one. If we notice that they are actually from Australia, redirect them to the Australia page, which is called geolocation. And I can obviously set the default over here on what country I'm coming from. So it's really that easy to set up the different countries and basically personalize the way information is delivered to those users. So it's a really powerful feature, especially for those organizations that have global clients or global potential clients, and you are targeting a global market, which these days a lot of organizations are. So really, really easy for you to set up IP geolocation. I'm just going to publish that page there. There's a lot of questions coming through, which is really exciting to see. Please send through as many questions as possible as you think of them, and I'll do my best, as mentioned, to answer as many as possible afterwards. We probably won't be able to answer them all, but I will come back to you individually afterwards, and we'll do our best to answer them all. So please keep asking questions as we go along. The Ecwid functionality I talked through, I won't be doing any demo of that today because obviously it depends on you having Ecwid set up, and it is a lot more of a specialized requirement if you are doing e-commerce. So that is something we'll run through with you on an individual basis if you are currently doing e-commerce or looking to do e-commerce. The event management functionality is really exciting what we've done, so I want to jump straight into that. So as mentioned with the event management module, we've redone a bit of the interface. We've also added the ability to register for different activities as part of the event. So in my events over here, I've got my event search. I'm just going to jump in over here and search for the events, and I've got a whole range of different events coming up. Again, ignore the default text we've got in here. I'm going to go to my sample event 1, and I can see I've got different pricing tiers for the events as well, basic, intermediate, and all-inclusive. So I can walk through and do the registration for the event here. So I'm going to put in my details, and you can see it's pre-populated some of the information because it knows who I am. I can select different options based on the type of registration I would like. And then as you see over here, I can actually register for some of the other activities. So this is one of the new enhancements in the Events Manager module we've created. We've made it really easy for you to set up multiple streams, for example, where I might want to jump in and actually register for different streams. In this event or conference that we've set up, there is the ability to register for a maximum of 3 activities per person, and you can select 3 different activity options. You could obviously choose that to be 5 or 10 or 50, depending on what type of event or conference or activity you're running. So I'm going to jump in over here, and I think I'm going to register for the breakfast. I'll register for stream 1 over there, and I'm going to register for stream 3 over there. I've also got the ability to add different colleagues, and I can actually quickly and easily choose how many different colleagues I want to register. And then I've got my payment details over here, and I can jump in and I can go through the payment process. So what does that look like from the admin experience, and how do I actually set that up? So I'm just going to jump in over here to my Events Manager module. You'll see over here under the Events Management, I'll actually jump back to the management interface here. Just going to search for different events. If I go over here, I've got my sample event 1. That's the one we've been running through so far. And I'm just going to jump in and edit this. So you'll see there's all the standard event fields and functionality, which you'd be very familiar with, the type of event status that can be set, the different event types you can set, as well as the categories and whether they're public or private events, as well as the location and the start and end dates. But what I want to draw you to is the additional fields. So historically, there's a lot of different fields you can add to an event, and there has been a long list. So we've tried to bundle those together in a really consistent and logical way. So we've got the additional event attributes, and over here is where you'll find your long descriptions, taxonomy, the importance, the images, training details, the conveners, the attendees that you might be setting up over here, any prerequisites, any other type of information. And then under the online registration to attend, this is where we've added a range of other capabilities. And we're really excited about what we've actually done here, because I think this multiple activity functionality is really popular. When you're running an event these days, you probably do have different streams or sessions or ways in which users can register for multiple elements of it. So it's really, really easy for you to actually set up and manage that. So I can go set up my registration options. I can again have online and offline registration for the users. I can set up different pricing details. So I've got different ways in which users can get different types of pricing. You can also set up events for those that don't know, where there are some public events, there are some private events, there are some events that are publicly visible, but you've got to be logged in to actually register. And you could have different pricing levels for members and non-members, for example. Here is where I actually set up those different activities. So as you can see here, I've got my activities section, and you can call it whatever you want to call it. You might call it activity, you might call it sessions, you might call it workshops, whatever it might be. And you can see over here, I've just given that list, and that was the list you saw when I tried to register. So at the top, I've got breakfast, then I've got stream 1, stream 2, lunch, stream 3, stream 4, and that's what I selected as part of my registration there. When I go look at that in more detail, I can actually look at what's the start date and time, what's the end date and time. Is this an active activity? So I might create one, but it's actually not active yet. I don't want to show it. Is it mandatory for users to attend? Is it available to guests? So if you are bringing a guest along, is that available to guests to actually attend that as well? What's the location it's in, the description, and a range of other options that you can select there. I'm not going to go through them all, such as pricing, and it's only available to certain members. So there's a lot of different options there in terms of how you actually set up these different activities that are part of your event there. The team have done a fantastic job creating a really beautiful interface there, and they've really reworked it to make it logical and intuitive, so it's quick and easy for you to set up and manage events. So that's a high-level overview on the enhancements to the events management capabilities, which we're really, really excited about. And the final functionality enhancement I want to run through again and touch on is the form creator before we do jump into the Q&A. Please keep asking the questions as you come along, because there are some fantastic questions coming through, so I'm going to do my best to answer as many as possible. So the first area I want to show you here with the form creator functionality is when I go edit and enhance a form, I'm going to go edit this form I have here. You can see we've got this form designer. So I've got my different tabs of my form. I've got my details, my inquiry details, my further options, a range of different elements over here. You can see the different tabs that I can filter. And when I want to add another element or field, I can just take this and I can drag and drop this wherever I want. Well, there we go. Added that one in there. If I decide, I actually want to move that, let's just take this down a little bit. I can drag and drop that and move that around. So it's a really awesome form designer, a great way for you to quickly, point and click, create, manage, and edit forms. So far, I've had fantastic feedback from the clients that have seen this, and the uptake for the upgrade has been really fantastic. It is really exciting to see how many clients are wanting to upgrade to version 10.5. So thank you very much, everyone, and great that Form Creator was such a popular feature in the poll we ran, and obviously there's some fantastic enhancements we've done. So it is really easy for you to create the different fields, edit and move the fields. I'm not going to go through that in too much detail. We did cover it in the previous webinar, so I won't go through that in too much detail. There is just one last feature I do want to show around the forms before we jump into questions. Yep, I'll navigate away from that, and that's with regard to the email option. So one of the real common requirements or requests we've had from clients is the ability for a form to be submitted and the ability for the form to be created as a PDF template, for example. So what we've basically got over here is these PDF settings, and you've got the ability to include the PDF as an attachment to the form. But basically, we've got the ability now to take an article, a form, which creates an article that gets generated as a PDF. So from a records perspective or an audit trail or a version control or an archiving perspective, you might want the ability for that expense claim form or leave request form to be also bundled together so that you can very, very easily create that form, get a user to submit it, and you'll have a PDF of that expense claim form that was submitted. So we've set that up over here, and you can basically set up an Elcom article that's used as the template for the PDF. So I can go select which article I'm using and the folder that it's sitting in and select that specific article. And that's the article that's going to be used to generate the actual PDF. The way that's done is that in that article, we have the answer tag. So we have the different Elcom tags that are dropped in that article from that specific form. It's just a regular Elcom article. The tags are dropped on that article there. And so that page might contain, thank you very much for submitting the form. Here is a copy of the fields for your record. And they'll actually create that and generate a PDF of that. So really, really easy for you to set that up, manage that, and create it. And then over here, as you can see, you can choose which folder you want to save those PDFs in. And obviously then that folder might have a document list attached to it where you can display those in a document list, maybe on your intranet or portal or your website or whatever that might be. So that's some really exciting functionality there, and really powerful, the enhancements we've made to the Form Creator module. So I'd like to jump into some questions. Before we do jump into the questions, for those that aren't familiar with Elcom and are new to Elcom, Elcom is a globally recognized digital workplace and digital transformation platform. We're implemented for clients from mid to enterprise organizations for everything from their digital workplaces and intranets, websites, marketing and personalization solutions, portals, collaboration and social solutions, learning management, and mobile. So it is a real powerful solution. You can implement Elcom for one of those solutions or multiple solutions, and there is the ability to manage multiple sites on the Elcom platform. We do have over 100 modules of function out of the box. So for those that aren't familiar with Elcom, that's a high-level overview, and we'd love to talk to you about how we can help and support any of your current projects and solutions. In terms of what next, if you do have any questions, please contact us, info@elcom.com.au, or please contact your account manager if you'd like to have a deeper dive into version 10.5, as well as if you'd like to discuss upgrading to version 10.5. So let's jump into some of the questions. There are a lot of questions here. Is the email marketing module an additional module? Yes, so the email marketing module, the maintenance module, is an additional module in Elcom. It's an out-of-the-box module, so it is there really easy for you to activate if you don't yet have that turned on and activated. It is an out-of-the-box module that we can license and activate for you if you are looking for that. There was a question around if there's no preferences selected in the newsletter. So this question here from the personalization with the newsletter. If they don't select any preferences, do you show all articles in the newsletter? So just to reiterate that, or the way I understand it is that if you are sending out a personalized newsletter and the user doesn't have any preferences associated, will they see all the articles there? That's a really great question. I believe the way it's shown is there are the generic article options, as we saw in the demo over there, where there were a few pieces of content that were generic. Obviously, all users would see those, The others were sort of opt-in, so a user would see those if they had opted into that, or those were preferences of theirs. So I believe if you had no preferences selected, you wouldn't see the other options, as they're only surfaced for users that do have that taxonomy applied to their profile. So they would just see the generic newsletter or articles there. There's another great question that came through that was leading off the newsletter functionality or personalization of the newsletters there, but that was a question with regard to dynamic widgets. The question was, the dynamic widget for the email function, can we use that for normal articles, so not just an email? That would work well for personalized landing pages as well. That's a great question, Gabriel. Yes, you can definitely do that. So the dynamic widget that we're showing in the personalized newsletter demo, that is really just a dynamic widget that can be used anywhere throughout the site. And the way content can be personalized for users with taxonomy is the exact same. So for example, on your intranet or portal or whatever it might be, you could have a dynamic widget sitting there that has the rule applied, similar to the newsletter of, only display this type of content from this folder tagged as topic A, for example, or inherit the user's preferences and based on whatever their preference might be, based on product or team or location or news item or area of interest. And you can then definitely deliver personalized landing pages and content to users. So the dynamic widgets, as you've correctly identified there, Gabriel, really enable you to deliver a complete personalized experience for users. And it is really part of that whole web experience management in the Elcom platform of how do we deliver personalized contextual experiences for our users. So it is a key part of that web experience management in the Elcom platform there. In terms of, there was a question there around how do you actually edit the event and where do you actually click to edit the event. Great question there, Darius. Yes, that is something you could do. So you can actually click on the event there, and as you saw on the right-hand side, there's a little edit button. You don't have to worry about click on the event, scrolling to the top and clicking edit. In line with that, along that row over there, you'll be able to see the edit button for that specific event. So again, we've just made it a really simple, easy, beautiful user experience there in the Events Manager module. And I like the fact that you said that you're just joshing with me. There you go. So yeah, really, really easy for you to do that. There was another question there. Can the form PDF creator create a blank version of the form, not just a completed form? That's a good question, Cass over there. That is something, I'll have to check that with you. I do believe it is just the blank version of the form. You could just take that form and use our PDF generator feature and just go to that form and click print a PDF and create a PDF out of it. So that's something we can definitely run through with you, and happy to arrange a time to show that for you. There's another great question that's come through over here that I think is probably something a lot of people are thinking about. So a great question there, Elizabeth. Does the event show in the calendar? So when you set up an event with the Events Manager module, there is the ability for the events to show up in the events calendar. The events have their own calendar. So that's actually separate to the calendar module. So there's the standard Elcom calendar module, and then there is the events calendar module. Those two are separate. So if you do create an event in the Events Manager module, that will show up in the events calendar module there. There's another question regarding geolocation and whether it's relevant for global intranets as they're using the same server IP address. That is a really good question there. Obviously, the IP geolocation is driven based on IP addresses. So if users are all landing on the same page and it is global, but they are all coming through the exact same IP address, obviously, because it is trying to look for the IP, they're all going to look the exact same regardless of the country or region. So there are a few other ways you can personalize that for users. So the IP geolocation might not necessarily be the best option there, but there is the option, for example, in that scenario with your intranet, to deliver personalized content for users. So I can actually understand, okay, I've got this user, they're in this specific security group or Active Directory group, and they're from this team, department, or country, and therefore I'm going to dynamically deliver personalized content for them because I know this user is in our US office, even though it is one IP address the whole world lands on our site from, based on how we set up our intranet. So you can definitely still achieve the same personalization for those users. We just achieve it slightly differently. Okay, two final questions I'll answer. The one is someone's asked, if you're using the existing form creator functionality, do you get access to the new enhancements in version 10.5, such as the form designer? So yes, that's correct. So some of those awesome enhancements to the form creator and form designer functionality, if you are using the Elcom platform, you upgrade to version 10.5, you will have access to that. So it'll be literally a beautiful point-and-click interface for you to create and manage and edit your own forms there. Yeah, so really, really quick and easy for you to do that. So we've definitely covered a lot today, and thank you very much, everyone, for your time on the webinar today. We're really excited about version 10.5. There's a lot of features, functionality, and enhancements that we've released, and we're really excited to be launching Elcom version 10.5 to the market. So thank you very much, everyone, for the enhancements and excitement so far. At the end of the webinar, there is a survey, so we'd really appreciate if you could please spend 10 seconds and quickly fill that out. It helps us improve future survey webinars we run and deliver the best content for you. So thank you again, everyone. We're really excited to work with you and for you to start using Elcom version 10.5, and we look forward to working closely with everyone soon. Have a fantastic day, and we'll speak to you soon.